Stadium. It's the Boston Red Sox versus the California Angels. The game of the week is brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste. There is only one light beer. By Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Wrangler, a legend in jeans, made in the USA. And by Schick. When the beard is back, you've got to get Schick.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. East meets West. Even though they said it doesn't, it happens in baseball.
And last night, East really met West because the Red Sox look like they got their hitting. But, of course, with Clemens, they look like the ball club that is in first place. And California Angels having their problems, but today's another day.
The Angels are particularly having their problems with Eastern Division teams. They've only won 6 series out of 19, and they're already 1 game down to the Red Sox. For the Sox, I'm sure they were hearing footsteps. They knew the Yankees were on their heels.
Well, they were hearing footsteps, and, of course, everything in the paper leads that way. Red Sox are going to swoon. But John McNamara puts it in focus. He said, no pennant is ever won in July or August, and he's right.
And so would Gene Mauch, who is comfortable but not relaxed about a 2-game lead over the Texas Rangers. We'll take a look at the starting lineups for the Sox and the Angels. We'll have all the pregame stats and stories all coming up right after this. The Boston Red Sox trying to get well in Southern California. Marty Barrett leading off at second base, and Wade Boggs at third, Bill Buckner at first, and Jim Rice hitting cleanup in left. Don Baylor returns as the DH, and Dwight Evans in right field. Rich Gedman, who had a grand slam last night behind the plate. Ray Quinones at shortstop. And Kevin Romine, a kid from these parts, returns, hitting ninth and playing center field.
Here's the defense for the Angels down in the left field. Pettis in center field, and he really can roam. Last night just made a couple easy catches and balls look like base hits. Henrik is in right field. It's the Sensei Schofield, and you'll see a lot of leather around shortstop with Schofield there. Gritch at second base. Joyner, you talk about his hitting, but he is a tremendous fielder. Bob Boone behind the plate, and it's always a joy to watch him because he's always got that glove in the strike zone. I don't care where the ball is. How he does it is a mystery.
Well, he'll be handling Mike Witt, who is 9-7, but the Red Sox have beaten Witt twice. They beat him each time in Fenway Park. 3-2 in Fenway when he bowed to Clemens, and he lost to Bruce Hurst here 3-0 at Fenway. He is 1-4 lifetime. Fouled away by Marty Barrett, who has hit in 4 straight, and for about a month now, Marty's been hitting .360. So Marty Barrett leading off. Barrett followed by Boggs and then Buckner. The Sox struggling on this road trip, although they did get a big win last night. That's foul. The Sox on this trip have won 2 and lost 6. Their first West Coast trip of the year, just the other way around. They were 6-2. Mike Witt, a big guy with a lot of talent, and John McNamara very well aware of it. So he'd like to see his ball club get an early inning jump. Sox 4 games in front of the New York Yankees. Two balls and 2 strikes to count to Marty Barrett.
Witt doesn't have any trick pitches. A good 90-plus fastball and 2 type curveballs, 3/4 and an overhand curveball. I tell you, all afternoon, watch that Boone behind the plate with that glove. Pitchers rarely look wild.
High fly ball to right field, moving over for it. And waiting is George Hendrick.
George is one of those loose kind of guys. Yesterday, I just happened to be standing next to him. He threw 1 ball warming up for infield, and they said, is that enough? He said, a Rolls Royce doesn't need much to warm up.
Oh, pardon me. So 1 away on a fly ball to right, and now here's Wade Boggs. Ball 1. Boggs, the Majors League leading hitter, world's leading hitter.
Boy, I had some great conversations with him, Ben, and you can see why.
What could you possibly have talked about?
He talks strictly hitting, and before a game starts, he has programmed in his mind what he is going to do with a particular pitch.
1-1. Ground ball up along first. Joyner is there to bring it to the bag for the second out.
He literally goes through 4 times at bat, mental at bats he calls them, and if they give him a particular pitch, slow curveball, this particular time, he was going to pull it because they had overshifted on him towards the left field line. He really, he and Walt Rinniak, it's like a seminar listening to those two.
It's amazing to realize he's hitting .390 on the road. He doesn't need the friendly confines of Fenway. And here's Bill Buckner. Buck's been hurting. Of course, the Sox have had a lot of injuries. Buckner has a sore ankle, bad thigh, and an equally sore knee. 0-1 to Bill.
It's a unique thing that Buckner does in the batter's box. Watch when he gets set with that bat, how he'll just use the one hand, and what he does is to get extension. Most guys will swing with 2 hands. He'll just have one hand on the bat.
1-1. Buckner, on the 12th, the last time they hooked up, hit a 2-run home run against Mike Witt.
Nice relationship between catcher and umpire. Boone saved a little bruise and shook hands. There's that extension.
Fouled off, 1-2 the count. We're just starting up, so pull up a chair and spend part of the day with us. The Red Sox and the Angels. The Angels 2 games in front of Texas. The Sox 4 games in front of the Yankees, who are playing Minnesota, and we'll keep you apprised of that game. And they have split their 10 previous meetings. Mike Witt trying to win his 10. Interesting note, too, about the pitching pair-ups today. Bruce Hurst and Mike Witt. They were each drafted back in 1978. And they have certainly reached prominent heights with their clubs. Ground ball to shortstop. Schofield back to get it. Flips to Joyner, so it's a very easy inning for Mike Witt. And the Sox go down 1-2-3. At the end of half an inning, Boston nothing. Angels coming up. Here's the Angel lineup. Rich Burleson, followed by Wally Joyner and Brian Downing. Doug DeCinces hitting cleanup. Hendrick, Grich, and Schofield. Boone behind the plate, and Gary Pettis in center field. And Bruce Hurst works a strike. This is the second start for Bruce Hurst since he scared everybody with the Red Sox. Wound up, made a pitch, and crumpled, and some of the players thought he had a heart attack. Turned out he suffered a severe groin pull. And Bruce coming back. He has a record of 5-4, 1-0 against the Angels, 3-2 lifetime. Burleson, a little pop fly down the right field line. Buckner in pursuit. Foul ball. Billy Buck losing his glove, and Burleson will come back and try it again.
Really a tough play and a great effort by Buckner. He knows he's going to have to dive, sets himself, and just doesn't quite get to it.
So Billy Buckner aches and pains and banged up, gives it his best shot, can't handle it, and Burleson comes back. Burleson, of course, came out of the Red Sox organization, spent 6.5 years with Boston, and way back he won the Unsung Hero Award given by the Boston Riders back in 1975. 1-2.
Real battler, that Burleson. I tell you, everybody admired. I remember when he was with the Red Sox, they talk about he came to the ballpark even tempered every day. Man.
Well, he's a little hot right now after being tied up and caught looking.
Rice, Romine, and Evans in the outfield. Evans with that great throwing arm. Bonds, Quinones, Barrett, Buckner in the infield. Gedman behind the plate, big grand slammer, and Bruce Hurst, who already has a strikeout.
Here's Wally Joyner, followed by Brian Downing. Joyner, the big RBI man, and the rookie, might very well become the first rookie to win the MVP award since Fred Lynn did it for the Red Sox. 2-0 the count. Bruce Hurst with a strikeout. He struck out 14 this year and lost to Texas. In there. The Boston Red Sox, and Lou Gorman in particular, have issued a statement concerning Dennis Oil Can Boyd. We will have Lou give you that statement at the proper time. Joyner with 4 bunt singles this year, trying to dump one. And on deck, loosening up Brian Downing.
Might point out, Vin, that grass on the left side a little bit higher, just a little bit slower. Watching the game last night, and Buckner's ground ball in the first inning, you're not going to roll any balls through there. You're going to have to drive it through.
Big wave and fouled at the plate, so Joyner is still there. 2-2 the count to Wally with Downing on deck. Gene Mauch and the Angels trying to turn themselves around. They're struggling at home. They have lost 6 of their last 8. Gene saw them lose 3 out of 4 to Toronto, 2 out of 3 to Milwaukee, and of course last night to the Sox. Not happy about that at all. Foul back. Of course, the Angels are having a lot of trouble with the Eastern Division, and when they finish with the Sox tomorrow, they will begin a stretch of 20 games with Western Division teams: Oakland, Seattle, and Minnesota. Fly ball into center. Kevin Romine is there, and Romine makes the catch for the second out. In talking about Minnesota, it reminds us, and particularly for the people in the New England area, they're in the 5th inning. Minnesota is leading the Yankees 5-1. It is raining. Ricky Henderson homered to account for the Yankee run. Frank Viola and Drabek has been chased. So it is 5-1 Minnesota, but it is not an official game at the stadium in the rain in the 5th, and we'll keep you up to date on it. Brian Downing, the muscle man of the ball club, who has been bothered by a strange cough, and he's had it too long.
Can't shake it.
He's struggling too. The cough and his health, no doubt, bothering him, and he has only 3 hits since the All-Star break. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 down, first inning, no score. 1-2.
They're really playing him to pull in the infield. I mean, Quinones and Boggs can practically shake hands. The outfield is straight away. There you see kind of an odd defense. Look at the center fielder right in line.
High pop foul off to the left and out of play.
Both these ball clubs, when you watch the defense, and they rely heavily on, well, the charts actually that you saw Don Sutton in the start of this game talk about. It's up to the pitcher to make that pitch that makes them hit where they're stacked.
1-2 to Downing. High fly ball to center, slicing a bit, and Kevin Romine is there to put it away. So the Angels are done, and at the end of an inning, no score.
Yes, the Red Sox released a press statement on Thursday in which we indicated that Dennis Oil Can Boyd had been released from the University of Massachusetts Hospital, where he'd been under treatment. He is still under suspension. He will continue to work out under club supervision. We anticipate we'll resolve all of the problems regarding suspension once he's received some more medical assistance and counseling. All of his financial problems get resolved to eliminate the stress on Oil Can and get him back. And as soon as all those things have been taken care of to the satisfaction of baseball, he would be reinstated. His pay would be paid back to him retroactive to the 14th of July.
In the second inning, no score. Jim Rice followed by Don Baylor and then Dwight Evans. Rice with a very bad right knee. They drained fluid off it, and he came back after missing 4 games, but it is very painful. By the way, as someone who is not involved in day-to-day with the Boston Red Sox, and I was quite interested, and I'm sure you were, about the Oil Can Boyd case. Fouled away. And one of the things bothered me, because I had read so much that Don Baylor was a great leader with the Angels and a great leader with the Yankees and a great leader with the Red Sox, and I thought, well, if Baylor was such a great leader, I wonder what his relationship was to Oil Can Boyd. Drive to center. Gary Pettis is there. So following that, I said to Baylor before the ball game, hey, you're the big leader. How come he didn't follow?
Number 25.
Al Nipper, Roger Clemens, and myself. I know John McNamara worked with Oil Can, I mean, more than did with his own son. And for Oil Can to come back to this ball club, he's going to have to conform to us. the last time. The players went out of their way to help Olde Towne. So I think for Olde Towne to be successful as a teammate, he's going to have to come back and conform to this club, because this club is a team and it's not an I. It's a we, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're a we team, and we're here to win.
So speaks the leader.
Eloquently.
Line drive down the left field line, foul and out of play, and the count 0-2. As I understand it, too, I think Boyd, among other things, with all of his other problems, he had a stipulation in his contract. He was going to get $25,000 if he made the All-Star team. So when he didn't make it, he felt that he lost 25, and that just took the lid off.
That'd give you 25,000 reasons to get upset.
But there wasn't anybody ahead of him who didn't deserve being there. And I think what Baylor said really makes the sense. We have tried very hard. It's about time he now cooperated with the team. 1-2 the count to Baylor. 1 out in the second inning. No score. Oh, good pitch. He took something off it, and Baylor way out in front of him. Big league pitch. Off speed to get Baylor.
Witt has a 3/4. He has an overhand curveball. Here he comes over the top. And I mean, when he took something off, Baylor was out in front. Good pitch.
Well, Witt has struck out as many as 11 this year when he beat the White Sox. Interesting for Witt, he has pitched so well. He has gotten into the 7th inning or later in 19 of his 20 starts. And yet, California is 10-10 in the games in which he has pitched. Here's Dewey Evans, born in Santa Monica, lives over in the San Fernando Valley, so in a sense he kind of comes home. Remember, he hit the first pitch of the year for a home run against Jack Morris.
Playing a little game here. Evans took a little bit of time getting set. Witt walked 3/4 towards home plate.
Right. 0-1.
You had that thing with, was it Davy Lopes and Raboski one time?
One of the great moments that never, where nothing happened, except these two guys were playing games with each other. It's another one. So Mike Witt with 2 out in the second inning, no score, and he has Evans by the neck, no balls and 2 strikes. On deck, waiting his turn, Rich Gedman. He had a home run with the bases loaded last night. 1-2. Mike Witt trying to get the Angels squared away at home. The Angels will play their last 7 games of the year on the road. They have 3 in Kansas City and 4 in Texas. The Red Sox are the only team in the majors to have 3 consecutive series at home to finish the year. And what a homestand that's going to be. They finish the year with Toronto, Baltimore, and the Yankees. No wonder John McNamara is in a pensive mood. 2-2 the count. Time call.
That's upsetting Witt just a bit right there.
Look at that. After the All-Star break, 4 clubs really struggling. On the corners, Dewey Evans caught looking. Strikeout number 2 from Mike Witt. And at the end of an inning and a half, no score.
Well, you see Lou Gorman in today's All Alone. Last night he watched the game with general manager Mike Porter of the Angels, but before that I saw him sitting with Howie Hake, and I said, uh-oh, looks like Rick Rhoden might be on his way from Pittsburgh, and they both just kind of grinned, and the Pirates are in pretty good shape if indeed they are willing to deal Rhoden, which I'm sure they are, if they can get a little bit of a bonus in that deal.
And having just left Pittsburgh, I saw several Red Sox scouts there watching Rhoden pitch the other night. However, there are people in Pittsburgh who say, and I have no reason to believe this, but there are Pittsburgh people who say the Yankees have the inside track, so they're going to really go down to the wire on that.
Pittsburgh will just sit back and let him come shop.
Doug DeCinces will start it off. He'll be followed by George Hendrick and then Bobby Grich. DeCinces hitting .243 with 10 home runs, and he hasn't homered in more than a month. 1-1. That's a period of 19 games. His last home run was against Jose Goodman in Texas. He hasn't hit a home run here since the middle of June. You have two pitchers today, Mike Witt and Bruce Hurst, who were opening day pitchers. That's a foul ball. You know, it's an interesting study. Think of opening day pitchers. They're stars. They're big pitchers, right? Okay, what's happened to the 14 opening day pitchers in the American League? Well, 3 of them went on the DL. Mike Flanagan, Bruce Hurst, and Chris Cotteroli. 1 was traded. That was Tom Seaver. 2 are having the worst years of their career. Dave Stieb, Ron Guidry. 2 more have losing records. Mike Moore and Jose Guzman. 1 has been dispatched to the bullpen. Bud Black. And 4 of them are doing well. Morris, Higuera, Schramm, and Witt. The story of the opening day pitcher. Dave Stieb picked up a save earlier this week.
Interesting defense that they got on DeCency, who usually hits the right center field, but they play him to pull in the infield.
High foul off first base, and that will slice way back into the crowd, so it's still 1-2.
To me, that's always an intriguing thing to watch at a ball game because it really puts the load on the pitcher. That's the kind of clubhouse meeting I used to like, where the pitcher didn't say what type pitch he threw. He would tell you, I'm going to pitch him, so he hits it here, so let's stack the defense that way. And obviously, that's what the Red Sox are doing, as Quinones and Boggs are playing the pull, outfield again straight away. He's got to make the Sensei pull that ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes. High fly ball to left field, so he made him pull it, and Jim Rice is right there to handle it in foul ground. The Red Sox have been struggling. In fact, they've lost 8 out of 11, and it's interesting to note all 3 of the wins. Roger Clemens, who won again last night. He's 10-0 following a defeat. Talk about a stopper. Big guy out of Texas is that, and then some. George Hendricks, 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in. It was interesting you were talking, Joe, about making a hitter go a certain way. When Don Baylor was here with the Angels, Mark used to always want him to go to right field. And he would say to Baylor, if you'll go to right field and hit a home run, I'll buy you a brand new Cadillac. I'll put all the toys on it that I can buy if you'll do that. Fly ball into shallow center, and Kevin Romine is there. Anyway, recently Baylor hit the top of the right center field fence at the 370 sign for a double, and Mark was hollering to him today, hey, that deal's off now. It doesn't count now that you're in a Red Sox uniform. So 2 down. That was the area where Don was going for the car, but too late. Bobby Grich. 4-1. Bruce Hurst now has surrendered 4 fly balls in a row, keeping the ball up on some of these right-hand batters, and 3 of the 4 fly balls to center. In there. Drew Coble is the plate umpire. Tim McClelland at first, Larry Young at second, and Mike Riley at third. Bobby Knopf coaching at first, Moose Stubing at third. Ball 2. Bill Fisher, who is looking right almost into the camera, one of the great control pitchers of all time, though a handy man to have as your pitching coach. Tom Seaver wearing the shades. He'll be pitching tomorrow against Don Sutton. 2-2. Oh, big overhand jug got him. That's his second strikeout. 6 in a row retired, and at the end of 2, no scores. We'll be back after these messages from you. September the 30th, 1984. Mike Witt and a perfect game against the Texas Rangers. Boy, what a way to finish the year with a perfecto. Well, so far he's retired 6 in a row. The last perfect game turned in by Lem Barker for Cleveland against Toronto. That was in '81. He has 2 strikeouts today, and he is against a team that is tough to strike out. In fact, the Sox have struck out the fewest times in the American League. A drive to left field and deep. Downing going back, away back. It is home run. Downing just missed it, and we had to wait for Mike Riley, the third base umpire, to get out and call it. So Gedman takes Witt the other way for a home run. That's only his second lifetime hit against Mike. He was hitting 056, and look at this effort by Downing.
Looked like Downing may have gotten hurt when he came down. He almost does the split. He really gives it a good effort. Looked like a breaking ball. Gedman last night pulled the ball to right center field, and today the opposite field. Great effort by Downing.
So it is 1-0 in favor of the Red Sox on the home run by Rich Gedman. He now has 8 RBIs in his last 4 games, plus 1 at bat today. He's hot. He had that slam last night.
Vin, when you hit a ball that hard in the opposite field, that just doesn't happen. You have to kind of program yourself. You're going to go that way and drive it. He really did drive that ball.
1 ball, 1 strike, and there's a one-hopper played nicely by DeCinces right off his left hip. That takes care of Quinones. Tell you another thing too, if you're thinking about going the other way, do it in the daytime here. The ball really carries in the daytime at Anaheim.
DeCinces, good hands, good play. Once he had it, it was an easy out, but it was not an easy chance.
Here's a wonderful story coming up to the plate. The youngster Kevin Romine. Romine is from these parts. He went to high school at Fountain Valley. He went to college briefly at Orange Coast, and then 2 years over at Arizona State. In fact, the last time he played anything here at the Big A, he was a running back, a tailback at Fountain Valley, and he ran for over 230 yards. And he and Mike Witt go back together, because he went to Fountain Valley and Mike went to Servite, and they faced each other in a CIF championship high school game, and Romine went 2 for 3, including a double. Tried to bunt. 1-2 the count to Kevin. So it's interesting with all the kids scrambling around in Southern California. A few years go by and here they are.
He's under some pressure too, because Armas is about ready to come back, and he's one of the 2 that might be sent back down. He knows he has to do it, and you get a situation like that, tough not to press.
1-2, and he hits a fly ball down the right field line. Hendrick is to the line and makes the play. Lachelle Tarver is a left-hand hitter, and since Armas will be coming back tomorrow, the chances are they will keep Tarver, who's left-handed and runs well. There's Tony. He's been out with a bad hamstring, and John McNamara was saying he was hitting just before he went on a DL for the first time. He was off to a slow start. Armas hitting .275, has 4 home runs and 19 RBIs.
Speaking of hitting, before the game, Gedman and Riniak were taking extra batting practice, and Gedman had that grand slammer last night.
4-1 to Marty Barrett. Sox leading 1-0. They're in the 5th inning at Yankee Stadium. Minnesota leading 5-1. It is raining in New York. That is not an official game yet. When we hear more, you'll have it. 1 ball and no strikes.
There was a great example, Vin, of what I'm talking about with Boone. Most times they'll tell you to catch the low ball coming up with the face of the glove coming up. But what he does, he snatches it almost going down where you see the back of the glove. So it really gives the illusion that the ball is a strike. An illusion is the proper word.
Ball 3. And, of course, Drew Coble well aware of the chicanery of Bob Boone.
Well, actually, what he's doing, he's giving Coble a good view of it, and he's keeping that arm in the strike zone. Very rarely is it out of the strike zone, and it makes it easy. He's not trying to steal strikes, just wants the close ones.
3-0. On the corner, 3-1.
He frames the pitches better than anybody, I think, in baseball.
Bob Boone handling Mike Witt. It's 1-0 in favor of the Red Sox on a home run by Rich Gedman, leading off here in the 3rd. 3-1 to Marty Barrett. 3-2.
And might add, as Boone catches the ball, that glove is a little bit thin right at the top. Now watch that hand in the strike zone. Look at there. Just fondle it enough to get it in the strike zone. That's not the big thick mitt that most use.
Breaking ball, a one-hopper hit hard at short, but Schofield stays with it to get Barrett. So the Sox settle for the run on the home run by Gedman. And at the end of 2.5 innings, Boston won. The Angels nothing. Bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 in favor of the Sox. Schofield, Boone, and Pettis coming up. And John McNamara and plate umpire Drew Coble had words. That's a strike to Schofield. When the inning ended, Drew Coble, a plate umpire, walked over towards the Red Sox dugout, and Dwight Evans, who had been called out on strikes in the second inning, said a few words to Coble. And McNamara interceding to make sure his right fielder wouldn't get in trouble. And John's point, among others, was why Coble was anywhere near the Red Sox dugout, so that he and Evans could have words. Anyway, it was a brief flare-up. 1-0 Boston in the third. Schofield at the plate, hitting .230. Foul tip out of the mitt to Rich Gedman.
Now, Marty Springstead, who's in charge, if you're listening, Marty, this is just an observation. So why don't the umpires do like they used to do in the old days, walk to the side of the field of the team coming off the field? Like this particular inning ended, walk towards third base where the Angels are. Nobody's upset there. They're out of the inning.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Missed at the knees with a fastball, 3-2. Schofield has been struggling. He's only had 2 hits since the All-Star break. Red Sox 1, Angels 0 on a home run by Rich Gedman. To left field. Big chopper to shortstop. Quinones in the dirt. Buckner up into the seats, and so Schofield on his way to second base, and we'll see how they rule it. The youngster playing at short for Glenn Hoffman. And he's been playing well for Boston, kind of force-fed. Buckner has it eat him up. It will be an error all the way.
He knew he had to throw it hard, and it looked like he even threw so hard he was off balance.
Let's check again now. They're flashing hit and errors to make it 1-1. A single and then the throwing error. So the tying run at second, nobody out, and Bob Boone the batter. 4-1.
Well, Booney, knowing the way he plays, going to hit the ground ball at his second baseman. He'll get an out and pick up a base.
You know, this is 300th at bat this year, and he's only struck out 16 times. Remarkable. And he goes the other way, backhanded nicely. That was a tough play because Marty Barrett was caught in between hops. So Boone, a great job, and Barrett shaking his head, and I can well understand why. Boy, was that a tough play. Whew. It's going to go in the books, a simple ground ball, but it was anything but.
Backhanded and almost took the short hop, and once again, it's not going to show up in the box score, but Boone makes an out, but he picks up a base.
So Schofield is at third with 1 out. The tying run 90 feet away. Good play by Marty Barrett, and it's Gary Pettis trying to pick him up. Pettis hitting .247. A switch hitter going right-handed. They pull up the corners to the Angels because with Pettis up there and his speed, that causes the Red Sox to bring Buckner and Boggs up.
They keep encouraging Pettis to bunt. Last night, batting left-handed, as we look at Big Moose, he dragged the base, a ball past Clemens, got an error, but many thought it was a base hit. You certainly have to be alive for a squeeze here.
2-0 the count. One problem with the Angels, and the contrast is terrific. You have Bob Boone, who rarely, if ever, strikes out, followed by Gary Pettis, who strikes out a lot. He strikes out 2.5 times for each time he walks, and here he is with a count 3-0. In there. 3-1. Pettis looking down at Stubing. Dick Schofield, the runner at third. 1-0 Sox on the home run by Gedman in the third inning. On the corner, he's got Scrooge out there, 3-2.
That was really a major league pitch right there. There was nothing Pettis could do but exactly what he did. Watch it sail by for a strike.
So Bruce with a full count and 1 out. Got him on the corner. Oh, what a big rainbow and a pot of gold at the end of that thing. So the strikeout man strikes out.
Look where that glove is. And he drops it right in there. Gary gave up on the pitch thinking it was outside, maybe even a bit high. But, boy, she did rainbow in there. Looked like the arch in St. Louis.
That's the third strikeout for Bruce Hurst. Pettis goes back and sits down. And Rich Burleson, who struck out in the first inning, leading off. 4-1. 1-0 in favor of the Red Sox. And a hot hitter at the plate. Infield back to a normal depth. Hurst with a runner at third and 2 out, pitching from the stretch. So he went 3-0 to Pettis and came back to strike him out, and he goes 2-0 to Burleson, so he's pitching uphill a little. Gary thinking about a golden opportunity to get his ball club even. 2-0 the count. Ground ball foul outside of third and down the line, flagged by Boggs. Burleson has been a very successful DH. With Schofield at third, he's trying to pick him up. He's hit in 17 of his 19 games as a DH, including 9 in a row. Two and 1. That's in there. Well, Bruce Hurst, of course, he is quite a strikeout pitcher. He's fanned 10 3 times, 11 5 times, 14 once. He has 3 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings, and he has to count 2-2 to Burleson. Wally Joyner is on deck. 1-0 Red Sox. High pop around the plate, and it'll be Gedman almost stepping on the bat. Whoa,
tough play.
Boy, was that a tough play, and he almost stepped and took a header on the bat, which is just outside the left-hand hitter's butt. 1-0 Sox. We'll be back. You know, it seems like an easy play, a high foul or a pop-up. The catcher catches it. Did you ever step on your mask or on a bat?
The mask, I had to learn to hold it, find the ball, and then throw in the opposite direction. The bat, you have really no control. Watch here. Now, he doesn't know where the bat is. You almost have to sense it. Now, it looks like he's going to step on it. He's kind of dragging his feet, and he does a good job. See him throw the mask in the opposite direction, but I think he was really looking for help from the infielders.
Did you see the way Burleson put the bat down? It almost looked as if he was booby-trapping the area. He put it right in front of the catcher's feet.
Nothing wrong with that. It's one of the little things that the feisty good player does. I mean, you know, he's not going to make it so it's a room service catch. Nothing wrong with it.
Wade Boggs grounded to Joyner in the first inning. So Wade 0 for 1. Fouled away.
I said to him, if you're up there looking for a particular pitch, that's guessing. He said, no, it's not. When you guess, you are indecisive. When you have a game plan a day in advance and have a feel for what you want to do, that is not guessing. And he's right.
By making out his first time up, he's only hitting .350 against Witt. 2-1 to count.
He has discipline is the key word with him, and it goes back. He gives a lot of credit to his dad, and as a youngster, it's just discipline.
2-1. That's a strike. 2-2.
By the way, Ben, in that Sports Illustrated story, where Williams said he smelled, you know, the ball burning and all that, and Mattingly said he did. Boggs says, I asked him again. He said, I don't know how those guys could do that.
Well, that's all I heard, too. After that broadcast, we talked about it. All people all over baseball were telling me, oh, sure, you can smell it. 2-2. Ground ball to the right side. Bobby Grich is there. That'll take care of Boggs. 1 away.
Interesting. Now, last night, every ball he hit was to the opposite field. Today, 2 times up, he grounded out the first, grounded out the second. Even though they stacked him that way, it's pretty apparent he's looking for the off-speed breaking ball so he can burn him in the right center field.
Where's Buckner? He went the other way and grounded to shortstop in the first inning. Red Sox leading 1-0 in the 4th inning. Nothing new on the Yankee-Minnesota game. The last we heard, 5th inning, 5-1 Minnesota, raining. The Yankee run, a home run by Ricky Henderson. Frank Viola pitching for Minnesota. It is not an official game. It's still raining. 1 ball, no strikes.
Sometimes you hear professional golfers say that they have a set way of walking up to address the ball. So many steps. Buckner, when he gets set in there, there's a purpose. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Once he gets both hands on that bat, it stays back there. But now he's getting extension. Now watch. Stays back.
And he hits it hard inside third and down the line. Going over to get it is Downing, and Buck on bad legs is going for 2, and he's in there on his landing gear.
I'll tell you, he's an amazing athlete, because that would be an easy double for most everybody else. He had to really go in and do a head-first slide. Now watch him just go the opposite field and try to get those legs going. Now, a left-hand batter hitting the ball there should be a stand-up double, but Buck, with those legs, and it takes him so long to get ready for a game, you really have to admire him. Watching him walk into the ballpark today, Ben, was really something. I mean, he really is hurting.
So Billy Buck's with a double to left, and Jim Rice trying to pick him up with 1 out in the 4th inning, 1-0 Red Sox. Rice flied to center in the 2nd inning. Jim made a catch against the Angels, and Gene Mauch said he felt almost any other person would have broken his neck. But Rice is so incredibly strong and muscular that he was able to have his heels and feet come over his head when he went head first and did not get hurt. Jim Rice hitting .350 with runners in scoring position.
I think the real tribute to his strength is when he started to swing, stop, the torque was so great it broke the bat. That is strong.
1-0. Hit hard to the hole, through. Buckner will be held at third. He had to hesitate in case Schofield came up with it. So a double and a single, and the Sox are in business. Runners at first and third, and Don Baylor coming up.
Ball was hit right on the nose. Looked like Schofield might have a chance. Got by him. Buckner had to wait. He didn't want to run himself into an out and stop this rally.
Baylor with runners at first and third, going head-to-head with Mike Witt. You have the Angels who have lost 6 out of 8 at home. The Red Sox who have lost 7 of their last 9. Fouled away, 0-1. Typical of Baylor, 12 of his 17 home runs have either tied the score or put the Sox ahead. 15 of them against right-hand pitching. And as usual, he's being hit by pitches. He's been hit 22 times, and in his career, 214 in American League record. On the corner. That averages out this year. He gets hit about every 16 trips to the plate. And he has had a lot of trouble with Mike Witt. He has just 1 hit in 17 at-bats against Witt.
Witt struck him out first time up when he let up on the curveball.
And he has him 0-2 now with 1 out. And he pops it in the air into shallow center. Out goes Grich. Pettis coming in, and he has the easier play. And Buckner's going to come anyway to throw. He is out at the plate. Buckner's going to argue that he was never tagged. They also throw and double up the runner Rice, and Buckner is incensed. Now John McNamara coming over to try and restrain Buckner, who is chewing on Drew Coble. So Pettis gets his glove and drops it. Buckner tries to come in, as nailed 8-2. Take another look.
He took his eye off the ball, and you can see he drops it. Here comes. Now watch him. Right there, he took a look and see what Buckner was going to do.
We'll be back. It's a roller coaster ride for Gary Pettis. 1 minute he is the GOAT. The next minute he turns out to come up like a hero on that last play. We'll take another look at it, but we don't want to miss a pitch to Wally Joyner. Joyner flied to center in the first inning. 0 for 1. If you're keeping score, it winds up an 8-2-6 double play when the center fielder drops the pop fly. They get the out at the plate, and then the throw down to second base to the shortstop covering to finish it. There's no error on the play. 2-1. Red Sox 1 run, 3 hits. The Angels no runs, 1 hit. Fouled away. 2-2 the count to Wally Joyner. Here's where Wally is with the rookies. Boy, they're having big years. And he strokes it into right center, but Romine is there to handle it. Let's take a look at that play again now. The fly ball to Pettis, tagging is Buckner. Pettis will drop it, looking to see what Buckner's doing. Buck elects to come to the plate. Now, Buckner argues he is not tagged.
I think he gets under the glove. He does.
He claims he was never touched.
And I don't think he was.
Now,
Boone's going after him.
Then decides to throw down, and since Rice was at first and Baylor had not come, Rice was forced, and they get him. And that makes it a double play, 8-2-6. But, of course, Buckner still thinks he was safe and scored a run.
And I agree with him because the lie detector test, Boone fails it by going after him. If Boone doesn't go after him, I say he put a tag on him. But instinctively, you do what you know you have to do, and that is tag the runner.
1-1. Ball 2. We'd like to remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game. It's a tough one. The difference, a home run by Rich Gedman in the 3rd inning. The two Angels who have hit Hurst pretty well. Bob Boone hitting over 300 and Brian Downing hitting 310. Those are the two who have been able to hit Hurst. At 10 outs, and 4 of the 10 have been fly balls to Kevin Romine in center field. That's a strike. 3-2. Boy, that's a mean pitch to hit the inside corner like that. Downing jackknifing. And Hurst just sawed it off. 3-2. Too far, and he walks Downing. One thing about Bruce Hurst, he has a very good move to first base, a particularly good move. He's had 2 pickoffs so far this year at Carlton Fisk and Odeby McDowell. He had a 3-year stretch, 83 through 85, where he had 35 pickoffs. So Downing will really have to watch him as DeCinces checked in. Doug flied to left in the 2nd inning. Red Sox 1, Angels nothing, bottom of the 4th inning. The Angels had a runner at 3rd with 1 out in the 3rd and left him. If you're thinking bunt, DeCinces has only sacrificed once this year. And on deck, George Hendrick.
Quinones' shortstop is not over in a hole as much as he was. He has to cheat towards second base for the possibility of the double play.
Check swing foul.
There you see him now. Remember, first time up, they stacked it towards the left field line. But with the base runner Downing on, DeCinces, the batter, Quinones has to worry about the double play and getting over to cover second. If the ball is hit to Barrett.
0-1. And he drives it into deep left field. Rice to the track at the wall. Gone.
What is that, a high 2? 2 fingers.
It means 2-1 in favor of the Angels is what it means. As Doug DeCinces drills it out of sight. Remember, he had gone 19 games without a home run, and he hadn't hit a home run here since June 17th. And McNamara finds his ball club down 2-1. And George Hendrick, the batter. Ball 1.
Great reaction of Gedman with his mouth open, and Hurst just watching it, knowing if you're going to lay a ball down the middle, that's what's going to happen.
For Hurst, that's only the 7th home run that he's allowed this year. So the Angels 2 and the Red Sox 1. 1-1 to Hendrick. Ball 2. When they opened up Fenway Park in 1912, the opening did not make the front pages because the Titanic hit the iceberg and went down. And for all those years, 75 years later, the good ship Red Sox is trying to avoid an iceberg. A fly ball to right field. Coming up for it is Evans, and Dewey is there. So they changed the captain and they changed the crew. But when you go back in the history books, you find that the Red Sox had 4 World Series wins in the first 7 years when they opened up Fenway Park, and no World Series in their last 67 years. No victory. Along the way, they've hit the iceberg, and they're hoping that this time they'll make it. Bobby Grich, a drive to center. Back goes Romine to the track at the wall. Gone.
You can't pick a deeper part of the ballpark than where he hit it. Romine going back knows he's running out of room, and it's all gone, and he just watches it.
That's 6 home runs for Bobby Grich. So Hurst is roughed up for 2 home runs. DeCinces with Downing aboard, Grich with the bases empty, and the Angels now are leading 3-1. And Dick Schofield the batter. The big tip-off on the Red Sox and their problems of late. Not the injuries. Not really. Their starting pitching, the earned run average is around 6. Line to right field. Base hit. And the Angels now really on a tear. Schofield is 2 for 2. And that will bring up Bob Boone. So Bill Fisher going out to talk. And Bruce Hurst will listen.
I think this is one of those mood-breaking visits. Certainly no strategy to talk about. Just the idea of, hey, try to pitch within yourself, get the home runs if you can, go out and get this guy, that kind of conversation.
That's Calvin Schiraldi sitting there with manager John McNamara. Just checking the home runs, you might be somewhat shocked. We're talking about Anaheim and how the ball flies out. The Angels have now hit 98 home runs. The Sox have hit 72. So here's Boone with Schofield at first. 3-1 in favor of the Angels here in the 4th inning. Ball and no strikes. When the Red Sox come up in the 5th inning, they'll have Evans, Gedman, and Quinones. High foul off to the left. Coming over his box right on the lip of the dugout, but it's 3 rows back in. Boone, you remember, grounded hard to the right side in the 3rd inning to get Schofield over to 3rd. Boone moving up the ladder in experience. He was originally a 20th round draft pick. The Phillies did that back in 1969. He's had some career. 2-1. So Bruce Hurst struggling. Last start, he went 5 1/3 innings against Oakland. Bruce had won his 2 starts prior to the injury. He suffered the injury May 31st in Minnesota. Ground ball hard inside third and down the line. Schofield is on his way to third. Rice playing the carom. They're waving him in. Quinones cannot make a relay.
You certainly have to give a lot of credit to the third base coach, Bruce Stubing. 2 men out. He was going to make Rice and the relay man get Schofield. He just was waving him from the minute the ball got by third base. Rice had to play it carefully, waited for the ball to come off the wall, and Schofield running all the way scores easily.
So the second time around, the Angels starting to punch holes in Bruce Hurst. The Angels with a home run by DeCinces following the walk to Downing, a home run by Gretsch, and now the double by Boone to get Schofield home. And it is 4-1 California. So Hurst is hanging in there just trying to stay in the ball game. Gary Pettis, who struck out with a runner at third in the 3rd inning, and then wound up dropping a pop fly and converting it into a double play in the 4th. Ball 1. Pettis hitting .246. Calvin Schiraldi loosening up back of Bruce Hurst. One ball, one strike. It's that rainbow that drops in there nicely for a strike. 1-2. Pettis' big problem, as we mentioned, making contact. He has struck out 82 times this year, and he has struggled against Hurst. Of course, when you talk about struggling against Hurst, you have a lot of company. And when he was battling Hurst earlier in the year, Bruce was very much on his game. His numbers today, he's been punished by 2 home runs and a double. He was looking something like breaking ball or screwball and got the express.
I don't think Hurst, as we look at Gene Mauch, wanted to run this count to a full count, because now he's got to make sure he gets a decision right here. Throw a strike, so Gedman's going to go with the pitch that he's got the most confidence in as far as a strike, and you'd have to believe that would be his fastball.
A 4-run inning and 2 runs coming with 2 out. 3-2. And he won. So Pettis is aboard, and Burleson will be the 9th batter to come up. John McNamara heading for the mound. Bruce Hurst has made 31 pitches this inning, so he's done. And Calvin Schiraldi will be called in.
2 things indicated that he was having trouble. Boone being able to pull him and walking Pettis.
So Hurst is gone. The Angels lead 4-1. We'll be back. It is 4-1 Angels here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Red Sox trying to shake the image of the Titanic and the iceberg. You can go back to 1972, where they led by 2 on the 21st of September, only to lose to Detroit. In 73, they were in first place on July the 10th, and Baltimore won. In 74, the Red Sox led by 7 on the 23rd of August, and Baltimore won. In 77, they were 3.5 in front of 18th of August, and the Yankees won. In 1978, they were 10 ahead of Milwaukee and 14 ahead of the Yankees on the 19th of July, and the Yankees won in a rather historic playoff. But the Red Sox didn't go easily. Everybody remembers Bucky Dent and Mike Torres the pitcher, and Dent's big home run. But the Red Sox still didn't quit. Dent hit the home run. There was a 3-run home run to give the Yankees a 3-2 lead. They scored another run, and later Reggie Jackson homered. Well, guess who's coming up now? Reggie Jackson will bat for Rich Burleson. But the point I wanted to make was the Red Sox battled back. They scored 2 in that game. And if you remember, it was 5-4 in the 9th. They had the tying run at third. And Carl Yastrzemski fouled out to Greg Nettles. 0-1 to Reggie. For Calvin Schiraldi to come in, he is the 16th pitcher used by the Red Sox this year. He was called up from Pawtucket, the 9th player to come up from Pawtucket. In fact, on the club now you have Tarver, Romine, Glenwell, Sellers, just recently called up from Pawtucket. 1-1 to Reggie. And 2. Bobby Ojeda, of course, making giant waves for the Mets. Calvin Schiraldi came here in the Ojeda deal. Reggie's last 3 home runs have come against the Red Sox. 2-2. He's homered against Clemens, Seaver, and then Seaver again. And he'll be going after Seaver tomorrow.
That was a slow curveball. I think right now in this pitch, you're going to see strength against strength. Fastball hitter, fastball pitcher.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Got him, and he just blew him down with a fastball at the knees. However, the Angels get 4 on 2 home runs, a single and a double. And at the end of 4, California 4 and the Red Sox 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Boy, there's a great one, Joe.
Jimmy Reese, teammate, great Babe Ruth. Jimmy, a real master with the fungo. In fact, he used to be able to pitch batting practice, and I use that word loosely because what he would do is take the fungo bat and hit the ball towards the plate, and it would be a strike. So he would pitch batting practice by hitting fungos. What a guy. What a guy. Beautiful man.
He has piled up a few years, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Just checking to see how old he is, to be exact.
Well, 1 bounce was out.
1 bounce was out. He will be 81 October the 1st.
Isn't that great that he's still seated on a Major League bench?
Dwight Evans takes ball 1, struck out in the 2nd inning, called out, and had a little jawing session with Drew Coble. He has not hit Witt at all. He's not worth a buck against Witt. 0-71. Popped it in the air, foul behind the plate. Mooney coming to the screen, out of play.
If you've been watching our telecast, we kind of check on these catchers who check hitters who might be sneaking a peek. Booney has kind of an unwritten law that if a fellow's deep in the batter's box and gets way back like Evans does, he'll just check him because he kind of feels maybe he's looking for a location.
Coble before. So a check wing for a strike, but this time Dewey just mutters.
Booney caught that and put it up like I do this all the time.
1-2 the count. Waiting his turn, Rich Gedman. Remember, he homered to left field in the 3rd inning for the only Sox run. 3-2 the count. Gene Mauch leading 4-1. We were giving you some of the painful history of the Red Sox. Gene has some painful history of his own. The 61 Phils he managed that lost 23 straight. Hit up the middle, and it'll be a base hit for Dwight Evans.
It was Witt's follow through that really cost him that time. He was falling towards first base, and if he'd have been perfectly balanced, he makes the play. Now watch him fall that way and just can't get back there. And wisely, he started to put his hand and drew it back.
Rich Gedman will be coming up. Mauch sharing with McNamara the pain. Of course, for McNamara, he was not involved in all of the misfortunes of the Red Sox. But Mork could write his own book. In '64, the Phillies were 6.5 games in front with 12 to play, lost 10 straight, and they came up a buck short. That's a line drive at short, and they're going to play for the force and double, but it's not going to count. Schofield was thinking, I'll just knock it down and get 2, but he won't. The line drive is ruled an out, period.
I tell you, if you were scouting him for the first time, you'd have to put him down as a more than average as far as intelligence. He just knocks that ball down. He anticipated that.
He's also playing for a guy named Mork.
That's right.
Who wrote the book.
Yes, sir. That was really, he tried it, didn't get away with it, but there was nothing wrong with it.
Gene saw his Angels in '82, remember, go 2 up and then lose 3 straight to Milwaukee. And then last year he saw the Angels finish second to Kansas City when they lost 3 out of 4 in the final weekend series with Kansas City. So both teams, both history, show a lot of record.
You mentioned Gene Mogg helping him think like that. I wonder if his father, Dick Schofield, a former major leaguer, may have had him try that in Little League. Maybe like him.
Sure. Ray Quinones struggling and has been in a slump for quite a while. 1 ball, 1 strike. It is 4-1 Angels. We're in the 5th inning. Witt just did get out of a jam in the 4th. That's in there. 1 and 2. Mike Witt trying to win his 10th. He has won 6 and lost 2 here in Anaheim. And that's hit into left center field for a base hit. Evans to second, and he'll keep on going, and Pettis will get it into second base, keeping Quinones at first. The young Ray breaks the string of 0 for 16 with a base hit, and the Sox have runners at first and third, and young Kevin Romine coming up.
You know, watching Quinones hit that ball in left center field, he hit the ball hard the first time up in the 3rd inning when the Sensei made a good play on him. But Ted Williams, who is in spring training with the Red Sox every spring, very high on Quinones' swing. Very high.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Me too. It's like a good housekeeping seal on your bat.
Well, here's Romine, the kid coming home in a Sox uniform. To just repeat it in this instance, he went to Fountain Valley High. Mike Witt went to nearby Servite High. They battled against each other in a high school championship. Romine went 2 for 3. And now in the big leagues, Kevin is up there in a spot. First and third, 1 out. And remember, the only out was a bullet at Schofield. Fouled away, upstairs, off to the right. 0-2 to Kevin Romine. On deck, the leadoff man, Marty Barrett. Marty has flied out and grounded out. So Mike Witt, who is almost a lock every time he starts to get at least into the 7th inning, is in a little bit of trouble here in the 5th, getting out of a scrape in the 4th. Sidearm curve fouled away. Well, I'll say one thing. He really came with the jelly leg pitch, and Romine hung in there.
Yes, he did. Hit it off the handles, but you could see that he was determined to stay in there because Witt, who comes 3/4 and overhand, does drop down occasionally. Really got a little nasty with that one. And I'll tell you, the feeling is that he's thrown from behind the third base coach when you're batting against a fellow who sidearms you like that.
Mike Witt is 6'7", so when he sidearms you, you have been sidearmed for the whole day. Quinones at first, Evans at third. 1 out. Over the top. 1-2.
He's one of those loose guys, too. When they sidearm you, it seems like they're on hinges.
I love his name. Michael Atwater Witt. I mean, that kind of gets you.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't throw a lot of fear into you if you were batting, but Mike Witt would. Michael Atwater, huh?
1 ball, 2 strikes. Over the top, got him.
Looked like an overhand curveball. And Witt, who really showed Romine everything, here he comes over the top, and look at that thing drop. That's the one as a kid we used to call a drop. Whatever happened to those great names?
Well, Romine knows what happens. You go back to the bench. Third strikeout for Mike Witt. And now Marty Barrett flied to right, grounded to short with 2 out. The Sox at first and third. Inones at first. Evans down the line from third. No pitch. No pitch. Time called by Coble, asked for by Barrett. And somebody in the Angel dugout takes a bite out of Coble.
They've been doing that to Mike Witt, and it's been a little bit upsetting to him. Evans did it to him, and he really reared back and just blew one right by him. That was back in the 2nd inning. It's like they're just trying to break his rhythm.
Ball 1-0. It's interesting, you see some of these averages or lack of average that the Sox have against Witt. Then you find out that Mike is 0-2 against the Sox and 1-4 lifetime. Of course, like so many good pitchers, he's lost some tough games this year. Witt has lost by scores of 2-1, 3-0, 3-2, and 4-2. In his games against the Sox, he lost 3-0 and 3-2.
Interesting maneuver by Barrett with a slow curveball. I'm sure he might have tried to drop it. At any rate, he's pulled DeCinces in a couple steps at third.
2 balls and no strikes. Right. He kind of moved that time as he was taking the pitch, and he had DeCinces on the move at third. So he has planted the seed. On deck is the man that Witt doesn't want to see, because Wade Boggs is there. Barrett trying to stay alive to extend the inning, and Witt would much rather pitch to Boggs leading off the next inning. 2-1. So this is a big at bat for Marty Barrett. And it's hit off the foot of Witt, deflected to Schofield for the force play. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and at the end of 4.5, 4-1 California. We're going to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Angels leading the Red Sox 4-1. It'll be Wally Joyner, Brian Downing, and then Doug DeCinces against right-hander Calvin Schiraldi. Bruce Hurst went 3 2/3 innings and gave up 4 runs and 5 hits, including home runs to DeCinces and Grich and a double to Boone. Busted bat, deflected off the glove of Schiraldi to Barrett, who gets him.
To slow it down. Looked like it was hit off the end of the bat.
Yeah, Joyner won't use that stick again. You could hear it crack up here.
Tried to give it that extended last step, but it was not enough.
Brian Downing flied to center and walked. It was a key walk with 1 out because DeCinces followed with a home run. 4-1 to Brian, hitting .274. Dowling prior to today had just 3 hits and 24 at bats. He was really struggling. Ball 2. He has picked up enough RBIs now to pass Jim Fregosi as the all-time Angel RBI leader. Brian Downing in there. 2-1. He's pretty much of an Iron Man. He's on a pace to become the first Angel to play 150 or more games 3 straight years since Don Baylor did it. 2-2. The only Angel to play in every game this year is Wally Joyner. And there's a busted bat and a ground ball to Buckner, who'll feed Schiraldi. So Calvin is shattering the woodpile. 2 down. Tomorrow, NBC Sports World presents an exciting afternoon of boxing. The United States faces the Soviet Union in an Olympic tune-up. Watch as these top-draw amateur boxers square off in Sacramento, California. Be sure to join us tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. in Los Angeles for fast-paced ringside action on NBC Sports World.
Which reminds me, We got the Giants next week. We saw Roger Craig in a boxing match with Herzog.
I know. I got to ask him about that.
We haven't seen that ball club yet. Looking forward to that.
Next week from Candlestick Park, the Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants. Well, earlier we told you Doug DeCinces hadn't homered in more than a month and 2 months at home. Now we can say he hasn't homered in about 15 minutes. He hit one out with a man aboard in the 4th inning. Calvin Schiraldi picking up the pieces for Bruce Hurst. 1 ball, no strike. In there, 1-1. Boston will have Wade Boggs, Bill Buckner, and Jim Rice coming up in the 6th inning. Witt has been in trouble in each of the last 2 innings.
Has nothing to do with what's happening right here, but are the Red Sox the only team without names on the back of their uniform? I can't think of anybody else.
The Yankees? They haven't seen the Yankees on the road. I don't know. 2-2.
I kind of like the names in the back, don't you?
Oh, I do too, yeah. Yeah, the Yankees, I understand, don't. I didn't think they did. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Doug DeCinces. Flied to left and hit the 2-run home run in the 4th inning to turn the game around. It was 1-0 Boston. His made it 2-1 California. Half swing, down he goes, and Schiraldi sets him down in order. At the end of 5, 4-1 Angels. Here's another edition of Baseball Remembers. You know, in giving some of the history of the 2 managers, and especially the Red Sox, Boston has been involved in a couple of really thrilling games a few years ago.
1975, that 6th game, I didn't see how they could top it, and they did it with the 7th game in that World Series against Cincinnati.
And you know, in talking about the 78 slide, I would like to point out that if you remember the Red Sox and the Yankees going down to the wire, they each won every game Monday through Saturday to close it out. So on the final game of the regular season, Catfish Hunter was losing in Yankee Stadium. Louis Tiant pitched a 2-hitter to win a gutsy game at Fenway, and that caused the playoff game. It was a tremendous finish. And that Sunday, I think, the game that Tiant pitched, considering the fact that they would have blown the whole year if they don't win that game, I guess that's about as much pressure as you could get.
I would think so. I'm telling you, because you're not only playing that game, you're playing scoreboard baseball, and you're playing it pitch by pitch.
The reason we bring that up is just to remind you about that little note we gave you before, that the Boston Red Sox are the only team to play their final 3 series at home. And boy, Fenway's going to see something with Toronto, Baltimore, and then the Yankees. Talking about the Yankees, anything new out of Yankee Stadium? Still raining, still the 5th inning. Minnesota still leading 5-1, but it's not an official game. Strike to Boggs.
Now, Boggs has pulled the ball twice, yet they're over in left center field. You got to believe he's looking for that curve ball, even a let-up curve ball, to burn him in right center field. He's trying to pull it.
And Witt trying to keep it away. 1-1.
Now, the question is, has he shut down, as Walt Riniak says, and will go the other way? He's made a decision to switch off, or will he continue to look? It's a constant battle. He's programmed.
1 ball, 1 strike. Now inside. So Witt is trying to work it outside, inside, and to count 2 balls and 1 strike. Boggs, Buckner, and then Rice. It is 4-1 Angels. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Angels leading Texas by 2. Red Sox leading the Yankees by 4. And he pulls, and it's speared by Bobby Grich.
He got his pitch, and he hit it. There's nothing more than you can do than that. But he was looking for the pitch, got it, and hit it exactly where he wanted to, towards right center field. He's ready. And look at that concentration. Great swing.
Bobby Grich up the ladder to Spirit, take a base hit away from him, and now here is Buckner. Buckner has grounded out and doubled inside third. 4-1.
Ironically, and I spent a half hour with him, I said, is there one time at bat that you program? He says, no, 1 swing, and I don't program the result, just the swing. I said, what's the swing against Witt? He said, a line drive I hit against him in Boston that Bobby Grich caught. And it's a repeat, a direct repeat. Not the result, but the swing.
1 ball and no strikes. On deck, Jim Rice. Of course, the line drive flagged by Gritch is important. If Buckner should get aboard, Rice is then not the potential tying run. Now, that was a big play. You got 3 Bs and a bop. Barrett, Boggs, Buckner, and then Rice. 2-1. The Angels 4 runs, 5 hits. The Red Sox 1 run, 5 hits. Home run by Gedman. The Angels a 2-run home run by DeCinces and a home run by Gritch. And now Mork sees Gritch make a big play on the line drive by Boggs. McNamara waiting for his team to come alive with the bat. High fly ball into left center. Brian Downing has some room. So when you look at the last 2 2/3 innings, Witt is not fooling people. He gave up a single and a double in the 4th inning, 2 singles and a line drive to short in the 5th inning, a line drive to second, and a 370-foot fly ball in the 6th, but he's getting away with it.
When you can win and you don't have that real good stuff, and it doesn't appear that Witt's got his best Sunday stuff today, that's the difference between the mediocre average record and the good one.
Gene Mork was talking about Candelaria, the left-hander, last night, who had no breaking ball at all and never could find it. And he was saying you can still win sometimes and not have a good breaking ball because there are a lot of hitters, and there's usually several in every lineup. The hitter will not even swing ever at a breaking ball unless you have 2 strikes on it. And he said you can start him off with a junky curveball for a strike and get away with it because he won't swing at it anyway. Do you ever think that way when you were calling pitches against hitters?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I never did believe that there are good breaking ball hitters. I mean, I just feel if you ask Santa Claus for a gift, you're going to ask for a fastball.
2-0. Ball 3. On deck is Don Baylor.
I look at Rice and Baylor, and I think this would be the least likely team I'd want to start a free-for-all with.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine those guys? They can clear out an airport in 3 minutes.
3-0. In there. Witt so far, 5 2/3 innings. He has struck out 3 and no walks. This is as close as he has come. 3 balls and 1 strike. Fouled away. We get a report that they are removing the tarp at Yankee Stadium. So Minnesota leading 5-1 in the 5th inning. And evidently they will resume play soon. Beautiful day here in Southern California. Fouled away. A little late on a fastball. We can duck in a couple of scores for you. White Sox Baltimore 1-1. Baltimore starting to make a move. They're playing well. Sent out 3, brought up 3. The Cardinals leading San Diego 3-0. San Diego's just stopped dead in the water. No score. Toronto Oakland in the 2nd inning. And the Dodgers Cubs scoreless in the 2nd. 3-2. High smoke to get rid of him. 4 strikeouts for Mike Witt. 4-1 California. Next week, our coverage of the '86 baseball season continues. The Atlanta Braves at San Francisco, and Joe and I will take a look and see what Roger Craig has been up to. Others will see the Cubs and the Phillies, led by Mike Schmidt. The action gets underway at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with Major League Baseball and Inside Look. We'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. George Hendrick, the batter, followed by Bobby Grich and then Dick Schofield. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Angels leading 4-1. Hendrick has flied to center, flied to right, 0 for 2. He's hitting 7 of his last 8. High foul behind the plate and out of play, apparently. Gedman back to have a look, and that's it. 2-1. Red Sox struggling with their injuries. Boggs with a back, Buckner hurting, Rice with a knee, Armas on the DL. Gedman's had a bad shoulder and a bad back. And they lost Nipper, of course, Hurst, and Sammy Stewart, although they're all back now. Line drive, foul. The Angels have had a revival in their pitching department. Don Sutton was 2-5. He is 6-1 now. Kirk McCaskill 7-3, and of course the return of John Candelaria. Ground ball to third. Boggs over to Buckner. One away. And of course Mike Witt, a 9-game winner, pretty much the big man on the staff. They have Donnie Moore back. So the Angel fortunes appear to have improved dramatically, and the Sox are beginning to heal. Here's Bobby Grich, who is hitting 5 straight, and for the last 2 weeks he's hitting about 370. He's really on the beam. He struck out in the 2nd inning and homered in the 4th. 4-1 California, 1 out in the 6th. Red Sox will have Baylor, Evans, and Gedman in the 7th inning. Two and one.
You mentioned Don Sutton a moment ago, Vin. He's one of the pitchers who likes to watch the game on television when he charts the pitches. He's in the clubhouse watching this game, charting that pitch from our cameras. High tech or cooler? What do you think?
Cooler. Cooler. It's been around too long to worry about high tech. It's cooler. 2-1. 2-2. Yeah, Sutton's in the clubhouse. Seaver's wearing sunglasses on the bench.
Ty Cobb used to sharpen his spikes.
Yeah, right. 2-2 to Bobby Grich, with Dick Schofield waiting his turn. Lou Gorman, he comes to California. He's wearing a pink shirt. When I go to Boston, I wear a button-down Oxford shirt.
Yeah.
Inadvertently fouled tip. He was on his way to ball 4. So still 3-2 to Bobby Grich. The Angels at home, and they're not enjoying it. As we mentioned, they've lost 6 out of 8. You know how things are going? At the All-Star break, the Angels were the only American League West team to be a winner on the road. The only one in the West. A 1-out single by Grich. Hit number 1 off Calvin Schiraldi, and it'll bring up Dick Schofield. Calvin Schiraldi went to the University of Texas. He was a teammate of Roger Clemens.
You'd have to look for a play with this combination. Grich at first, 1 man out. Schofield the batter, break up that infield. Stay away from the double play. You really would be a little more alert.
Schofield is 2 for 2. He singled to short and then took second on the overthrow and singled to right. So Moose Stubing perhaps hanging out a sign. On deck is Bob Boone.
See Gedman checking his bench, see if he can get some help.
Grich does not figure to be a runner on his own. He doesn't have a stolen base, but he could be a front man on a hit and run play.
Schofield has really done a job. You remember they were talking about, well, he can't stay in the big leagues if he doesn't hit. He didn't say anything. His glove is big league caliber from day 1. His
Mark looks like he's playing short without a glove. 2-0. A hot one into left field. Schofield's 3rd hit. Grich to second and holding. So Schiraldi, who came in and struck out Reggie Jackson to end the 4th inning and had retired 5 in a row, now gives up back-to-back singles by Grich and Schofield, and the batter is Bob Boone. Boone, of course, would definitely appear to be a double play threat, but a contact hitter. We'll see if Mork puts a play on.
Schofield, his 3rd base hit, and in this quiet little way, he just keeps contributing.
Here's Boone, grounded out and doubled. 4-1. And after Boone comes the switch hitting center fielder Gary Pettis. We get the report now. Officially, they are resuming play at Yankee Stadium. They're in the 5th inning. Minnesota leading the Yankees 5-1. Meanwhile, if Schiraldi is starting to lose it, they get Tim Lawler up down in the Sox bullpen.
I got to believe Gedman went out there to tell him 2 things. Number 1, you don't want to throw that fastball up there. And
Sammy
maybe
Stewart
some
up
signs as we see Stewart, the big guy.
One 1-0 the count to Boone. Grich at second, Schofield at first. Infield at double play depth. Strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Boone another look down at the Moose. Did you ever have a lot of trouble with the signs, or were you pretty good?
No, I was all right. I really was. That was. I didn't get that many. Like, I never got the steal sign, so I don't have to worry about that.
1-1. The runners go. Hit and run. Ground ball slowly to shortstop. Quinones will throw him out, but there it is. They stay out of the double play. They have the runners going, and Boone advances them.
What he's very good at is making the out and picking up the base. There you see Grich. All they're interested in is staying away from the double play. The hit and run play is not an offensive weapon. It's a defensive weapon to stay away from the double play.
So Bob Boone, remember in the 3rd inning, he went to the right side to get Schofield over to 3rd, doubled in the 4th, and advanced 2 men in the 6th. It might show him only 1 for 3 in the box score, but he's doing a lot better than that. And here is Pettis with first base open. 0-1.
This is the guy he wants with Reggie in that on-deck circle, and he shortened him up at 1st and 3rd. Last night, he beat out a bunt.
1-0. That's in there. Pettis, as you saw, has 2 home runs. He's had 7 in his career. All of them have been hit against right-handers.
That's all right, Reg. George would be proud.
1-2. As far as his batting average is concerned, however, Pettis hits about 40 points higher from the other side of the plate. He has struck out and walked, and as you can see, he's been struggling. 1-2 to Pettis. 4-1 Angels in the 6th inning.
He doesn't have that real good discipline as far as the strike zone, so with the count 1 ball 2 strikes, Schiraldi does have the luxury to work here if he wants to. I would choose not to. I'd go after him.
Got him on the corner. So Pettis failed to advance a runner at 3rd and now leaves runners at 2nd and 3rd. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. The brothers Latchman, Rene George Latchman, the 3rd base coach for the Boston Red Sox, 41 years old. Marcel Ernest Latchman, the Angels pitching coach, 45 years old. Baseball's answer to the Karamazovs. The Latchman brothers. Don Baylor, Dwight Evans, and Rich Gedman in that order in the 7th inning. Cubs leading the Dodgers 3-1 in the 3rd. Cardinals 4-1 over San Diego, the latest scores we get. So Mike Witt into the 7th inning again. Baylor has struck out and then was involved in that wild 4th inning when he hit the fly ball to shallow center. That's fouled back out of play. Pettis took his eye off to see what Buckner was doing on a tag up and dropped it. And the Angels came out smelling like a rose, getting a double play. That tells a lot. I guess the biggest thing about those numbers is, and Baylor would be the first to point it out, he has gotten so much press with the Red Sox that people have somewhat overlooked Mike Easley. Oh, was he fooled on that? 0-2. And 2 to Baylor. One thing about the Angels, they're not going to beat themselves. They have committed the fewest errors in the major leagues. So you get them out in front, they will not undermine their own cause. 2-2. Witt has struck out 4, and so speaketh the owner of the Yankees. Hit to center, and Gary Pettis is right there. So that takes care of Baylor. And suddenly Witt is starting to get people out. He's retired 6 in a row since Quinones' single in the 5th inning. Dwight Evans struck out and singled. Red Sox have been in first place since the 16th of May. And the Yankees have been chasing them doggedly. They trail by 4. Do the Yanks. 1 ball and no strikes. The Yankees are also trailing by 4 today. It's Minnesota 5, Yankees 1 in the 5th inning. Rain delay, but they're playing again at Yankee Stadium. 1-1. Red Sox aren't finished traveling after this series, which ends here tomorrow. They still have to go to Chicago for 3. Then they'll be home to play Kansas City and Chicago, and then they go right back out on the road again. The Angels have had a poor homestand up to here. 3-1 to count. There's ball 4. The Angels are 2-6 on the current homestand. That's the most losses Gene Mauch has had his club have at home since '84. They haven't lost 7 at home since '84. There you see they move to the 6th inning. It is an official game now. Minnesota leading 5-1, and we understand it is still drizzling in New York. So Evans gets Witt's first walk. And Rich Gedman, who homered and lined out, coming up. He's gone the other way with Witt. Homered to left, lined out to short. Pulls on the ground to Grich. They'll get 1. They get 2. 4-6-3 double play. And the Red Sox are turned away in the 7th inning. At the end of 6 1/2, as we look at it again, another edition coming up of the 7th inning stretch.
Would you please join Ed?
We're going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Donnie Moore loosening up, but that's about all he has to do so far down in the Angel bullpen, because Mike Witt has allowed just a walk since a single by Quinones. And we're going to the bottom of the 7th inning with Reggie Jackson, Wally Joyner, and Brian Downing. Jackson appeared as the pinch hitter for the designated hitter. Rich Burleson went 0 for 2, and then Reggie struck out in the 4th inning against Schiraldi. Reggie a winner. And he and Gorman Thomas, the only active player to have led 2 different American League teams in home runs. Strike. Thomas did it with Milwaukee and Seattle. Reggie has done it with Oakland, the Yankees, and the Angels. Schiraldi trying to get him, opening up the matter in the 7th. A drive to center. Romine fading, makes the play. 1 away. In looking at the 2 teams and their work against other teams, the Red Sox have beaten Cleveland 6 without a loss. They've won 8 out of 12 from Seattle. They have lost 5 out of 7 to Milwaukee. The Angels fattened up on Texas. They are 6-0 against the team trying to catch them. Detroit has beaten them 3 out of 4. Right. Joyner twice flied to center and grounded out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joyner, when he played ball at BYU, his teammates, Rick Aguilera with the Mets, Corey Snyder with the Indians, and Scott Nielsen of the Yankees. They had some players on that club. However, they went into the College World Series and lost to Texas, who had Roger Clemens. those numbers. 360 in July. Ground ball right on the bag. It's going to be a fair ball, and the out to Schiraldi. I think Joyner might have been doing just a little umpiring. Close play, but Buckner stayed with it to get him. 3-1.
Left fielder.
He really did slow up. I think if he runs all the way, he's got himself a base hit. But that's one of those when you hit, you umpired, and he obviously umpired a foul.
So 2 down in the 7th, and Brian Downing the batter. Downing is fly to center, walked and grounded out. If you're not keeping score and you wonder about the Red Sox, in the 8th inning, they'll have Ray Quinones, followed by Kevin Romine, and then Marty Barrett. If anybody gets on, Wade Boggs. 4-1 Angels in the 7th. One and two. And 2 strikes. Tomorrow it's Don Sutton with a record of 8-7 going against Tom Seaver 4-8. That'll conclude the series. Foul ball. 2-2. Put them together, you have 613 career victories.
Did you see, wasn't it, who was it, Negro and Sutton hooked up with it, and it was an old-timers game, and 4 guys in the old-timers game were younger than the 2 starting pitchers.
That's right. Well, Phil's 47. 2-2 the count. All 3.
How about the other night when he pitched against that young Loyne?
Mike Loyne.
25 years older. Loyne, he didn't show any respect for age, did he? What a curveball that youngster has.
3-2. Ground foul outside of 3rd and down the line. If you weren't with us earlier, Rich Gedman homered in the 3rd. The Red Sox led 1-0. The Angels scored 4 in the 4th. Downing walked and DeCinces homered. Grich homered. Schofield singled and Boone doubled him in. And that's it. 4-1 California. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Downing has walked once today. And he will walk again. And he leads the Angels in walks as he picks up 2 more. So Doug DeCinces, who is 1 for 3, and that was the long-awaited home run. So Downing at first, and here's DeCinces. In there. 0-1 to count. Both teams have done well in 1-run games. The Angels have won 16 of 25. The Red Sox have won 18 of 24. So they're accustomed to the scuffle. Good breaking ball. 0-2. Downing, I think, thought it was low and away. So as you can see, the Angels and the Red Sox, the top 2 teams in 1-run games. Baltimore only 6.5 games back, along with Cleveland. There's a lot of race to be run. One and 2, the count to Doug DeCinces.
Weaver made some pretty good moves getting ready for that race, sending out Wakens, Rayford.
Mike Young. Wow, he hit 28 home runs last year.
Weren't helping this year.
No. Boy, that's the old thing about baseball. No matter what your numbers, it's what have you done for me lately? Because John McNamara knows all about that. His team has just stopped dead in the water. The starting pitchers are giving up a lot of runs, and his team can't score, or not even close.
So the oldest news in baseball is the last time at bat or yesterday's ball game.
1-2 to Doug DeCinces. 11th meeting of the year between the two clubs. They've split the previous 10. Big breaking ball. 2-2. For the Red Sox, of course, they're hungry. They're one of only 7 teams not to have won a division title in the last 10 years. Waved at. Off-speed breaking ball puts DeCinces on the shelf. And at the end of 7, the Angels 4, the Red Sox 1. Angels, Red Sox and John McNamara 4-1. Only Dick Williams has managed more teams than John McNamara. Dick Williams has managed 6. McNamara has managed Oakland, San Diego, Cincinnati, Boston, and California. In fact, John managed the Angels between Mauch's 2 terms. John managed California in 83 and 84. He will be sending up Ray Quinones. Then he's going to go to his bench. Gene Mauch, who started out in baseball as a boy genius, the youngest manager, and now is a senior statesman in the other dugout. Quinones will be followed by Lachelle Tarver, left-hand hitting center fielder. He'll bat for Kevin Romine, and then Marty Barrett. So it is 4-1 Angels in the 8th inning. And you can see Minnesota has taken a little heat and pressure off the New England area. And it's still raining. And they're still playing. 2-0 the count to Quinones. They'll be watching Witt now, leading by 3 in the 8th inning. In fact, the Angels will get Donnie Moore up in the pen. 2-0. In there. There's Donnie Moore. He went 50 days before he got his 8th save. He'd been on the disabled list. He held up. And now they check, and at first base, Tim McClellan says strike. And Quinones has the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Take another look. The dreaded half swing.
No.
Remember when they used to say you had to break your wrists? That doesn't count anymore. Yeah, I've asked so many umpires about the so-called half swing. Little pop fly, and it'll be Grich looking to help. He's lost it in the sun. He bumps with Joyner. Joyner caught it. And he gives it to Grich as if to say if he wanted it that badly. They're laughing about it. What a way.
Grich is probably saying, hey, don't run into me. If you get hurt, boy, you're a franchise. Rich was having trouble, and that big mid of Joyner makes the play, and they go into a tumbling act. And
you get the feeling that whatever the Angels do today, it will come out right. Whatever the Red Sox do today will come out wrong. And all you have to do is go back to the 4th inning. The Red Sox had runners at first and third and 1 out. Baylor hit a fly ball to shallow center, and Pettis dropped it. And you think, well, that's going to make a big inning. It made a double play instead. And the Red Sox have been shaking their heads ever since. And in the bottom of the 4th, the Angels scored 4, and that's been it. Sox haven't had a hit since Quinones singled in the 5th inning. And here is Lachelle Tarver. Mine, Sellers, and Greenwell have all been called up from Pawtucket. You read about Mike Greenwell?
no.
He had never been here before, and he landed at Los Angeles Airport. And he got into a cab. And he said, I want to go to the so-and-so hotel in Anaheim. Fellow said, delighted.
Oh,
delighted.
yeah.
You know what it was? $83 on the meter.
And he made it direct, too. $83.
83. Welcome to the big leagues.
He must have had a headache from the ticking.
Oh. Ball 2, 2-1.
I bet that cab driver just couldn't believe it.
Oh, Anaheim. Yeah, skip right in here, pal.
You're going to have a nice weekend, pal.
Windows up or down? Air conditioning?
That's right.
Yeah. Oh.
You made the
Throw that cigarette on the floor. I have a lady who comes in on Wednesdays. Yeah. 2-1 to Tarver. Line foul. 2-2.
That must have thought he won the lottery when he stepped in there.
And may I await your pleasure when we get there.
Can I take you back to the airport?
Paid attendance here today, 33,977. Angels have drawn about 1,555,000 up to here. So this game is above their average. And they're ahead of last year's pace by a few. And they're expecting maybe 50,000 tomorrow for the Sutton-Seaver matchup. They had 50,000 here last night to see Roger Clemens and John Candelaria. Ball 3 to Lachelle Tarver. We're in the 8th inning. Angels 4, Red Sox 1. Outside. So the Sox get Tarver aboard on a walk. The only base runners they've had since the 5th inning. A walk to Evans and now the walk to Tarver. And those are the only 2 walks given up by Mike Witt. Walk with Moore in the pen and a lead of 3 as Barrett checks in and Boggs on deck. Barrett flied to right. Marcel Latchman checking with the bullpen. Barrett has flied to right, grounded to short, hit into a force play. And Booney out to the mound to talk to Mike Witt.
I think this is one of those buying times kind of visits where you go out there and just say, hey, look, I'm just out here because they sent me out here. I want to get a little more time for Downey. I don't know what they're going to do. And you look at the umpire. If he starts out to you tell me, and I'll head back to home plate. Now here goes the umpire, and here comes Boone.
While this is going on, we can check some scores. White Sox and Baltimore 1-1 in the 8th. Marcel Latchman heading to the mound. The Cardinals leading San Diego 4-2 in the 7th. Oakland leading Toronto 1-0 in the 4th. The Cubs leading the Dodgers 3-1 in the 3rd. And that'll be it. Gary Lucas, the left-hander, has joined Donnie Moore in the Angel pen, and Latchman is convinced that Witt is okay. Marty Barrett has hit 2 home runs and Wade Boggs has hit 5. So you figure that you have a little margin for error. You're not expecting to be hit by lightning. But as we mentioned, if anybody's going to hit a home run, it's going to be in Anaheim in the daytime. Tarver at first, 1 out. 0-1. Mike Witt, who gets you into the 7th inning almost every start, has completed 9 of his 20 starts. 4-1 Angels. 1 out in the 8th inning. Wade Boggs on deck. And now Witt is struggling a little. 2-0. Remember, of course, Boggs, should Barrett get aboard, Boggs then represents a tying run.
Definitely aiming the ball now. He's been high. His wildness, he's been consistent. I mean, consistently wild high. The old baseball bromide, he's just not bending into the pitch. But he's definitely aiming the ball. He loses him, I think they'll make a change.
3-0. Right. 3-1. So perhaps Mike Witt leading 4-1, battling to stay in the game, and he's huffing and puffing a little bit.
He's thrown him nothing but fastballs. He's wanting to throw strikes. He just hadn't been able to do it.
Head is shading just a tad over towards right center. And he threw a breaking ball, a little slider for a strike.
Laid off that big overhand and three-quarter curveball that he was throwing earlier in the game. It's been hard stuff.
3-2 to Barrett. 1 out in the 8th inning. Angels 4, Red Sox 1. At first is Lachelle Tarver, and on deck, Wade Boggs. So this is a big pitch for Mike Witt. Tarver held on by Joyner. High bouncer. That's a double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. So Witt is out of it, and it remains 4-1 Angels. There is one play that has killed the Red Sox today, and that took place in the 4th inning. It not only involved Bob Boone, but watch. With runners at first and third, Pettis drops. Did Boone tag Buckner? We'll take another look as Hendricks a strike. You tell me if Boone tagged him.
Watch Boone's reaction after Buckner gets by. It looks like he slides under him. Now watch Boone go after him like, I missed him, I'll get him now.
There's a drive into left center field, falling for a base hit. So Hendrick opens up the 8th with a single. And the batter will be Bobby Grich. 8 hits for the Angels, 3 off Schiraldi. The Angels today, their 6, 7, and 8 hitters are 6 for 9. Grich has a home run and a single. Schofield has 3 singles, and Boone has a double, while advancing runners at each at bat. 4-1. Then, of course, you had DeCince's home run with Downing aboard. Michelle Tarver, who batted for Kevin Romine, is in center field. Bottom of the 8th inning, 4-1 California. Boggs, Buckner, and Rice in the 9th inning.
Looks like Gene wanted to stay away from a double play. Went to the bunt first pitch.
And the second pitch. Strike. 1-1. Both Buckner and Boggs trying to put the pinch on. And Grich checking with Moose Stubing. Dick Schofield, who is 3 for 3, is on deck.
What was it they used to call it? Gene plays little baseball?
Little ball.
Little ball.
Little ball.
Little ball. Bunt, hit and run.
They even brought that down to wee-wee ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's the bunt. Buckner is going to make the tag, and that's it. So down to second goes Hendrick on the sacrifice. And Dick Schofield coming up. When we talk about the Angels playing little ball or wee-wee ball, you can back it up with the numbers. The Angels have led the American League in sacrifices 4 of the past 5 years, and they lead again this year.
And I think it's a tribute to young Schofield, what just happened here. I don't think if you go back to last year that Grich would be sacrificing to get Schofield up there. But this year, Schofield is having a good year putting that bat on the ball.
So Bobby with a home run and a single, then sacrifices and chats with DeCince. And here's Schofield, single to short, single to right, single to left. And Gedman out there to talk to Schiraldi. Calvin has done very well. He came in to strike out Reggie Jackson in the 4th inning, retired the side in order in the 5th, struck out Pettis with 2 on in the 6th, and has gotten into the 8th inning. He's worked 3 2/3 innings. And now John McNamara to the mound. Well, let's see.
Well, you could see Gedman was buying time because they were just standing there. And McNamara just wanted his bullpen to get heated up.
Schiraldi has only worked 5 innings this year. He's almost at 3 2/3 today. But John, I guess, wants to make sure he's sound. He's going to go, and let's see if he wants Sammy Stewart. Stewart had a forearm problem in his right arm, and Calvin Schiraldi will give way to him, and we'll be back with the Angels leading 4-1. Tomorrow, NBC Sports World presents an exciting afternoon of boxing. The United States faces the Soviet Union in an Olympic tune-up. Watch the top draw amateur boxers square off in Sacramento, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight, 4 p.m. in Los Angeles. NBC Sports World tomorrow. Big Bob Stanley comes out, and not Sammy Stewart. Stanley, who leads the Sox in all-time saves, has 14 this year. Big guy working on Schofield. 4-1.
Well, look at that. 5 helicopters. I hope they're ours.
1 ball and no strikes. Hendricks at second base, 1 out in the 8th inning. Ball 2. Not too far from us, Camp Pendleton, United States Marine Corps base down in Oceanside, and they're probably Marine helicopters coming up from there. 2-0. Strike, 2-1. So Schofield 3 for 3, hitting .239, trying to pick up Hendrick. Remember in the ninth, Boggs, Buckner, and Rice, maybe Baylor. 2-2. Angels 4 runs, 8 hits. Red Sox 1 run, 5 hits. Waiting his turn on deck, Bob Boone. High chopper. Tough play for Quinones, but he gets the high bouncer. If he had to play it on another bounce, he would have been in trouble. So Hendrick advances to third on the second out.
That hit right in the middle of the plate and really jumped up there, way up there. Quinones charges hard. He knows he has to get it on that bounce.
So 2 down as the young shortstop makes his play. And Bob Boone coming up. Grounded out, doubled, grounded out again, 1 for 3. Boone has been a very tough out. In a sense, he has done what he wanted to do each at bat. He advanced Schofield when he grounded out in the third, doubled in Schofield in the fourth, and advanced Schofield and Grich when he grounded out in the sixth, the hit and run play. And he hits a line drive, flagged by Marty Barrett. No runs, 1 hit. Hendrick is left. And at the end of 8, 4-1 California. The California Angels leading 4-1, and the Major League Baseball game of the week has been brought to you by Yugo. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. By Mars Bar. It's the little rewards that make life great, and Mars Bar is one great little reward. By Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies. Get Med, it pays. And by Miller High Life. Miller made the American way since 1855. Mike Witt, 3 outs away from his 10th complete game and his 10th win. Standing in the way, Wade Boggs, Bill Buckner, and Jim Rice. Boggs has grounded out twice and lined out 0 for 3. Strike. Boggs hitting .356. He'll hit .300 till Harvard wins the Rose Bowl.
Piece of paper has flown on the field to stop the action.
Boggs on his way for a 4th straight 200-hit year. Hard to believe Ted Williams never had a 200-hit year. Because he got a bunch of walks and played 154 games.
Are you kidding? There's some pitchers think he did that one time at bat.
There's Wade's numbers.
That's hard to believe. Williams never had a 200-hit year.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled away. Another thing that's hard to believe, if you want to take Tony Armas and Jim Rice together, they have 13 home runs. Wally Joyner has 21. You want to take Tony Armas and Don Baylor together, they have 21, equaling Joyner. That's a surprise.
A foul ball by Boggs might be telltale, and Boone is going out there. The reason I say that, the 3 times that Boggs has gone out, he's pulled the ball. That's the first time he tried to go the opposite field, and I think that there's Armas right there. What Boone is trying to find out what Witt wants to do, because I'm sure he noticed it as well as easily as I did. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Gene Morg sweating out Mike Witt and the fact that his ball club has been playing so poorly at home. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games here in Anaheim. And he looks to Witt to get him a win today. 1-2. Boggs grounded to Joyner, grounded to Grich, and then led off the 6th inning with a line drive flagged by Grich. And now we're in the 9th. Breaking ball hit down to Grich, and he kicks it, picks it up, can't make a play. Well, we mentioned earlier the Angels have committed the fewest errors in the major leagues, and Grich kicks the leadoff ground ball in the 9th.
Just did not make the play. That's as simple as all that.
It's the 5th error for Bobby Grich. So now you have Buckner and Jim Rice on deck as the possible tying run. Marcel Latchman heading for the mound.
Trying to keep that tying run from getting in the batter's box is what they're hoping.
It's a shock to see Grich commit an error. After all, his fielding percentage ranks him among the best second basemen in baseball history with Nellie Fox and Dave Cash. Meanwhile, Donnie Moore, number 37, will be called in. You know, that's kind of a surprise.
Why?
I mean, you let Witt pitch right to Boggs, and Boggs hits a ground ball. Now the second baseman kicks it, and you go and take the pitcher out.
Yeah, but what he's doing is managing against Rice and Baylor. If he gets another base run on, he's got the power hitters up, and he's in deep trouble.
Well, yeah, but he wouldn't have taken him out.
We'll come back to this, Vin.
We'll be right back. Well, we'll see if that score will inspire the Red Sox. Minnesota leading the Yankees 7-3, and Donnie Moore is ball 1 to Bill Buckner, with a runner at first and nobody out in the 9th. If there is a great trait for a great relief pitcher, is the very fact that he comes in and gets the first hitter. That's usually the mark of a #1 relief man. In 20 previous appearances, Donnie Moore has allowed a hit to the first hitter only twice. Interestingly enough, in going after the hitter, he has paid the price. Those 2 hits, home runs by Ken Griffey and George Bell. He was on the DL. We mentioned earlier he went 50 days between his 7th save and his 8th. He was on the DL. 2-0 to Buckner. Jim Rice on deck. Now, you wouldn't have let Mike Witt pitch to Buckner.
No.
Just because of the error by the second baseman.
It has nothing to do with it. I'm worried about Rice and Baylor and Evans.
Mind Rice and Baylor. What about Buckner?
What are you going to do? Take the second baseman out?
Well, you got to know that. That's it. Here's Grich makes an error. Okay, Witt, you're running out of gas.
Well, that's the way I have to agree with Gene.
2-1. The count to Bill Buckner. Time.
If Buckner gets on, we're right next to the gas tank now.
Oh, sure. Buckner is 1 for 3 today. Pulled a ball of Joyner. He goes down to Schofield. Back to Joyner. The 4th double play turned in by the Angels. What a picture book play.
That's one thing Joyner does so well, is that double plays. Not afraid to throw it. Gives him a good ball to handle. Comes right back. Buckner, a double play man. It's an easy 3-6-3 if there is such a thing.
And Buckner hit it hard. The executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman, the coordinating producer for NBC Baseball, Harry Coyle. The telecast of today's Game of the Week, produced by George Finkel, directed by John Gonzalez, pregame produced by Steve Dance, technical director Ray Figelski. So here is Jim Rice with 2 out, 4 double plays. And again, Donnie Moore comes in and not only gets the first man he pitches to, he gets 2 of them. Rice has flied to center, single to left, and struck out. Ball 1. Of all the double plays, though, the one that the Red Sox will think about all night is the fly ball dropped by Pettis with 1st and 3rd and 1 out. If ever one play could scramble a ball club's eggs, that was it. 1-0. Donnie Moore trying for his 9th save to hand Mike Witt his 10th win. Texas pursuing the Angels. They're at home tonight with Cleveland. High pop fly. This ought to do it. It will be Grich. And that's it. Boston hitters, the last 14 went without a hit. Their last hit was a single by Quinones way back in the 5th inning. So they were completely stopped dead in the water. 9th save for Donnie Moore as Gene Mauch saw Witt go 8 innings and win his 10th. This week's NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game is certainly pitcher Mike Witt. And Miller Lite is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Mike to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. He allowed 1 run and 5 hits while striking out 4, and then Moore came in and slammed the lid down. And the Angels win it 4-1 and put some heat on Texas tonight.
Yes, they did. And it's a kind of a ball game. The home runs were the big things, but they also, the Angels, to use the cliche, Vin, they know how to play. I mean, Boone, indicative of what I've just said. He makes the out, picks up the bases. So Angels, right in there.
Another Witt will figure. It's Bobby Witt of Texas due tonight. Next week, our game of the week, the Giants in Atlanta or the Cubs in Philadelphia. We'll be in San Francisco. For Joe Garagiola, Vin Scully, a very pleasant good afternoon.